The kids are on their way to the writing lesson, so I'm gonna start throwing together some sloppy joes for later. Good old meaty, wonderful, drippy, messy sloppy joes. I just love them. Okay, the meat's all browned up. So the first thing I need to do is drain the fat. I'll leave a little bit for flavor. Okay, much, much better. Now I've got half of a medium onion that I diced. I'll throw that in. And a green pepper. And then I have 5 cloves of minced garlic. These sloppy joes are mighty flavorful. Now the basis of the sloppy joe sauce is good old ketchup. I'm gonna squeeze in probably a cup and a half or so. Okay, and then I'll add 2 heaping tablespoons of brown sugar just to give the sauce a little sweetness. Is that heaping enough for you? Some salt and pepper. It's a lot of meat we're seasoning here. And then for some really great flavor, I add a couple of teaspoons of chili powder. It adds a little spice too, but really gives it a nice kick. And then a heaping teaspoon of dry mustard. Gives it some nice tang. And then for a little bit more of a kick, I'll just add a little bit of crushed red pepper flakes. And then several dashes of Worcestershire just to give it some nice savoriness. Okay, and then because I'm that kind of gal, a couple dashes of hot sauce. 2 or 3 or 4. And then I'll just add a cup of water to kind of bring all this together and make a really yummy sauce out of it. Now I'll just kind of stir it all together and see what I've got. And I usually adjust things here and there. It looks like it could use a little more ketchup, a little more depth of color. Squeeze a little more in there. All right, now I've got this just where I want it. So I'm just gonna put the lid on and let it simmer for about 25 minutes or so.
Smells good.
We're gonna get home late after the game, so I am making everything we need to have meatball subs. I melted some butter and added a couple cloves of grated garlic. And for the rolls, I tore out the tops and I put the chunks on the pan with the rolls. And I'm brushing everything with garlic butter. Okay, that's all the garlic butter. So I'm gonna put these into the oven at 375 degrees for about 10 minutes just to get them nice and golden. While the rolls are in the oven, I'm gonna make the meatballs. I've got a bunch of ground beef in a bowl and I'll add breadcrumbs and then milk. And the breadcrumbs are already starting to absorb that liquid. That's what you want. And then beaten egg. Now I've got some grated onion. I also added some grated garlic and a whole bunch of minced parsley. Then just salt and pepper. Very, very simple, very, very tasty. Basically, you just wanna smush and mush until everything looks like it's mixed and you don't see any ground beef that doesn't have the breadcrumbs and parsley mixed in. It's crazy the level of nervousness a football mom can get before a game. My gosh, I thought I was nervous when they were in Little League football, but Bryce is a junior, Todd is a freshman, and I just take on the stress every single Friday. Okay, that mixture looks fantastic, so I'll start forming the meatballs. I'm using a handy scoop, just makes it easier to get all the meatballs the same size. And then just roll it back and forth until it's pretty round. Okay, that's 1 meatball. Now I'm gonna make 39 more. Okay, that's the meatballs. So now I've gotta wash my hands, take the rolls out of the oven, crank up the heat to 450, and I'll bake the meatballs for 25 minutes for the first stage. The first stage of the meatballs is over, and they look great. Basically, I've got the oven really hot because I want to replicate frying the meatballs in oil. So I've just got 2 jars of good marinara sauce, and I'm just pouring them over the meatballs. A lot of times when I make meatballs, I do it on the stove top in a big pan, but it's really a great oven meal. Oh, they smell so good already. So I'm gonna get them back into the oven for 10 more minutes. All right, the meatballs are all done. I let them cool. So while I cover them for the fridge, let me tell you what happens to them after the game. So first, I'll reheat them in the oven covered at 350 degrees for about 25 minutes. Then I'll take them out and remove the foil. They look so good. Then to make the first sub, I'll load a roll with 5 meatballs and sauce, top them with sliced onion, a sprinkle of torn basil, some grated Parmesan, and fill 8 subs in total. I'll tip the sauce and the extra bread bits into bowls and serve them alongside the subs. Chili pie burritos. We all know what chili pie is. Basically, you crack open a bag of corn chips, pile chili right into the bag, add onion and cheese, sour cream. Other people call them walking tacos, but I am going to turn that concept into a burrito, and I'm not gonna regret it, I'll tell you that. So I've been browning 2 pounds of ground beef, and I'm gonna add a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste and some minced garlic, and then plenty of salt and pepper. And I'll stir this just so that tomato paste can start to fry on the bottom of the pan. This mixture is looking good, so I'm going to add a can of tomato sauce and a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. It's a staple of the South right here, definitely a staple of Texas. And then 2 cans of kidney beans that I drained and rinsed. And basically what I'm doing is making a super fast chili. This is not an artisan chili. This is not a chili that takes hours and hours to simmer to perfection. This is just when you need something brown, hot, and plenty of it, basically. Okay, then I added about 4 tablespoons of chili powder, which is a lot, but I want to pack a lot of flavor into this chili. All right, so this chili is all mixed together. Okay, so I'm gonna let the chili simmer for about 10 minutes. And while it does, I'm gonna lay out the stuff for the burritos. 10 minutes later, look at this chili. It's amazing that you can make a chili this delicious in such a small amount of time. So I've been busy laying out the fixins for the burritos, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn the chili off. The stove has done its work, and I'm gonna build the first burrito. So flour tortillas, of course, and I'm gonna add a generous amount of chili to the center. I don't know, how much should I add?
A lot.
Oh, more, okay. Like a cup or so?
That's good.
That's good.
How's that?
That's the spot.
And then, of course, cheese, right? Onions, corn chips, sour cream. Okay, so to roll this up, if it's even possible to roll this up.
I think you put too many corn
I
chips.
always do that. So I'm gonna roll in the sides, roll over one of the other sides, and then, come on, Ree. Come on, Ree, the kids are watching.
There's a hole in the burrito.
Alex, Alex, shush.
You put too many corn chips in there.
No, I did not. Golly, ma'am. Okay, I've got some olive oil, and I already put a skillet over medium heat, so I'm gonna add plenty of olive oil, or you could do butter. And I'm gonna take this big old burrito with a hole in it that Alex just pointed out, and I'll put it seam side down. And then it's optional to grill your burritos. You can leave it totally ungrilled and just go ahead and mow this down right now. But if you have the time to grill it, it makes all the difference in the world. Oh, it's gonna be such a treat. All right, so check this out, Alex. I just wanted to do the first side to kind of seal that seam. Ooh,
Oh my God.
that looks so
What?
good. I knew it would blow your mind. All right, now I'm just gonna babysit this until it looks exactly the same on the other side, and then I'll take it off, slice into it. I think the burrito is ready. I'm gonna get it and flip it over onto the plate. Oh. All right, I wanna show you what the inside looks like. Ready? Ooh, You don't want the skillet to be so hot that you burn the tortilla before the cheese is melted. So let's see if I practice what I preach. Oh my gosh, look at this. And you can wrap it with a paper towel, hand it to your teenager when he walks out the door in the morning, he or she. But I'm telling you what, when it comes to teenager food, it doesn't get any better than this. Well, my boys just called, and guess what? They're hungry. How unusual for them. Just kidding. Now they're on their way up here, and I'm gonna make them one of their favorite sandwiches, Pahuska cheesesteaks. They're really drippy, really delicious, and the boys go nuts for them. It's really, really simple. I'm just swirling some butter around in the pan. And I'm using deli roast beef. It's really delicious. It's already cooked. I don't have to worry about that. I'm just gonna drop it into the skillet, break it up as I drop it in there. These sandwiches are a little bit of a riff on Philly cheesesteaks, of course. Now, I have a lot of friends in Philly, and I have found they are very protective of the original. These aren't quite as authentic. They may be just as delicious, though. Okay, now I'm just gonna move the beef around. Now, just for a little bit more flavor, a few dashes of Worcestershire sauce. All right, stir it around. Now, while the beef heats up, I'll get the veggies ready. I've got a red bell pepper, and I'll just slice off the top, pull the seeds out, and then just slice it into rings. Okay, now the beef has been warming up. It looks perfect. It didn't get too far past the pink stage. Get it out of the pan. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, now I'll crank up the temp on the skillet because I want it to be nice and hot. And I'll add a little bit more butter to the pan. Now I'm just gonna throw the veggies in the pan. I've got the onion and all the bell peppers. Whenever I buy bell peppers, I usually buy them in 3 different colors because I think the combination is so great. All right, now I'll let these peppers cook and I'll get the rolls ready for the cheesesteaks. I'm using deli rolls and I've got the rest of the stick of softened butter. And I'll just spread the butter right on the rolls and put them cut side down right on the griddle. I'm using smaller deli rolls because these sandwiches are so filling and so decadent. You really don't need a very big one. All right, I'm just gonna let these rolls go until they're nice and golden and slightly crisp. Okay, the rolls are perfect. They're nice and buttery, a little bit crisp. Now, an integral component to any cheesesteak recipe is, of course, the cheese. Now, there are lots of different opinions about what kind of cheese to use for cheesesteaks. I'm using this really delicious gourmet cheese in a jar. All right, now I'm just gonna get this in the microwave for about a minute or so. I just want it to get nice and melted. You wouldn't use this cheese all the time, but on this sandwich, it is good. Okay, the cheese is nice and melted. Now, one of the things I like to do to redeem this cheese in a jar is doctor it up a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of cayenne pepper. It just gives it a little bit of a zip, makes it a little more interesting, and then some regular black pepper. And then I'll just stir this up. It is a little bit more visually interesting too. You see little flecks of black and red. Now everything's ready to go. I've just gotta build the sandwiches. And again, these rolls are little, so I'm really gonna lay it on. Plenty of peppers and onions. Okay, now the fun part, the cheese sauce. This is what makes these sandwiches cheesesteaks. Those boys are gonna go nuts for these. My favorite boys. How are you?
Sandwich.
Are you hungry or what?
Yeah. Man, it's gonna be some good sandwich.
Look at your brother. He's totally going for it.
Fantastic.
Cheers, Todd.
Cheers.
Cheers, Bryce. That is good. Cheeseburger sliders, and these are not the sliders that you think. So I started sauteing some onions in a little bit of vegetable oil, and I'm adding some ground beef And instead of forming them into individual patties like you would normally see sliders, I'm going to cook all the ground beef together, crumbling it as I go. Okay, so I'm just gonna cook this for about 4 minutes until the beef is totally brown. All right, the ground beef is pretty much brown, so I'm going to add some Worcestershire sauce just to make things a little more interesting. I'm gonna add some more pepper. I want the ground beef to be super flavorful, and you can actually doctor this up with hot sauce. You can add like a little bit of barbecue sauce to the meat if you like that kind of thing. All right, so I'm gonna turn the meat off, and I'm going to make a little sauce for the sliders. So what's your favorite condiment for burgers?
Mayo, ketchup, and mustard.
Well, you're in luck, Mauricio, because I am making a mixture of mayo, ketchup, and mustard. Whoa. Not gonna put it on separately. I'm just gonna stir it all together. And again, you can have some fun with this. You can add hot sauce, barbecue sauce. Okay, so look at this. It's called muscanaise. So these are slider rolls, and they come all stuck together in a package. I cut them through the middle, put them on the pan, and I toasted them in the oven just until they were starting to get brown. So watch this. All of the sauce goes on. It looks like a lot, but it's really not as much as you think. And then you want to spread it so it really gets out to the edges. These are cheeseburger sliders, so I've got some grated cheddar jack, and I'm gonna add half of it right on top of the sauce. And then I'm gonna add the ground beef. It's just like one big sandwich, and then I'm gonna bake it and cut it into individual sliders. And it's really packed on here, you guys.
That's the way I like my sliders, nice and beefy.
That's right. Same. All right, so basically you want to spread the ground beef just kind of so it's on an even layer and it goes out to the edges. And then the rest of the cheese goes on. And then my favorite part, which isn't that revolutionary, it's just my favorite part. Pickles!
Yes.
No.
And
I love
yes, and what I like to do is just do a slice kind of over each section. Okay, so then, as you can imagine, the top goes on, and I'm gonna give it a little bit of a press, and then I have some olive oil, and I wanna show you what I'm gonna do to the tops of the buns. I am not content just to put naked buns in the oven. I have to doctor them up. Naked buns are not my thing. Everything bagel seasoning.
Oh.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
It just kind of gives the buns a little bit of interest. All right, let's put them into the oven, Alex. Come along. 375 degrees, just until the cheese melts and everything is piping hot, and then we'll dive in. Ooh, ooh.
Oh my goodness.
The tops of the rolls got a little toasty. I love it because they kind of look like pretzels almost. They kind of got that pretzel-y color about them. So then all you have to do is just kind of very casually run a knife through and just cut off however many sliders you want. 1 for me, 4 for Mauricio,
Yes.
7 for Stu.
Yes.
Check it out.
Wow, those look amazing.
Yummy, right? Who wants to taste this?
Me? Mauricio.
Yes.
Stu?
I do want to try one.
I knew you wanted to. And how good would these be with like jalapenos on them?
Oh.
Oh, sorry.
Say less.
Whoa.
Yummy.
The sauce.
Their sauce is amazing.
Thumbs up?
Double thumbs up.
Double.